Hello, citizens of YouTube land.
Hey,
It's your president and your VP, and we're back again with a horror film this time. I know it's kind of a weird opening because I didn't really know how to do this one. Today's subject is Warlock,
nice.
which premiered. Hold on one second.
It's a 1989 film. That's all you need to really know about it.
No. It's a little different than that. It was filmed in 1988. It was released in May 1989 at the Cannes Film Festival, but did not get its U.S. release until January 11th, 1991. Produced for a budget of $15 million, it only made $9 million at the box office. Currently has a Rotten Tomato score of 53%.
Screw you, Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. It was directed by Steve Miner, who horror film fanatics out there will recognize that name because he is the director of Friday the 13th Parts 2 and 3, as well as one of the most successful and both commercially and critically Halloween H2O.
Nice.
Which, as we well know, we'll probably cover this in the future, guys, but Halloween H2O kind of goes the meta route because it was during the period of Scream, so you get a lot of that.
Yeah, in which they actually ignored the previous, I think it was like 3 sequels beforehand, or 2. I can't remember which.
So this movie stars Julian Sands, Laurie Singer, and Richard E. Grant. It starts in 1691 in Boston, Massachusetts, and the Warlock, played by Julian Sands, has been captured by Redfern, who is basically a witch hunter, guys. That's what he does. But he had a personal stake in this.
So let me point something out. His design, like the design and overall like costume for Redfern, legit looks like it's from Castlevania. Like if you look at it, he looks like he's Simon Belmont from Castlevania, which kind of makes sense because I think Castlevania takes place during the time of the beginning of Warlock.
It could be. It does make a lot of sense in that that might have been like traditional garb. But anyways, guys, he has a very personal stake in hunting down this warlock, this witch, because this warlock had claimed his wife and had made sure she didn't exist no more, basically, guys. And it's the day of his execution. And Redfern basically kind of gloats about it a little bit, but then he leaves, and as soon as his back is turned, immediately there's like this portal that opens up, and the Warlock is basically sent through. So it's now 1989 Los Angeles where he ends up at, which the movie gets unfavorably compared to Terminator because of the time traveling aspect and having to hunt down basically a psychopath in a way. But so he's transferring to them, and Redfern, he basically jumps through the portal after him. And so the Warlock is consulting what we call as like a medium or a seer. They are apparently able to channel the spirits of the dead and of the other world. Well, this one's a fake. And the Warlock calls her out on it. And she is like, I am Zamiel. And so she then begins to do this demonic voice because it's actually Zamiel, which I guess is another word for the devil. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on it.
I do believe Zamiel is a major demon of Christian religion, and that he's like the devil's second right-hand man.
Could be. I like I said, don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure, guys.
As the plot of this film is really crazy, as the Warlock has to find 3 parts of the Grand Gourmand, which is...
Yeah, but hold on a second, because this part's pretty cool. after the seer and the medium reveals Zamiel to the warlock. The warlock then takes the eyes of the seer because the eyes are able to help him recover the pages of the lost satanic Bible, the Grand Grimoire, which apparently in witchcraft, again, guys, I don't know for sure, just going by the movie, a grimoire is basically like a witchcraft or a witch's handbook, more or less, on how to do their spells and stuff.
And apparently the book has God's true name in it, and if you say it backwards, it undoes all of creation.
Which the warlock had asked Zamiel what for he who does this, and basically he's promised to become the devil's son.
Yeah,
more or less
the one begotten son of the devil.
Yeah. So he crashes through this apartment, a window, and he is basically nursed back to life in a way because he's basically on the brink of death. Let's face facts.
Yeah.
But he recovers very quickly.
This is at the beginning of the movie, before the events we just described.
Yeah.
And he like takes the tongue out of one of the dude, out of a gay man, basically.
Yeah.
Takes his tongue, spits it out.
It's kind of a funny moment because it's a bit of a black comedy too. And the gay guy's roommate has something taken from her. This comes a little bit later. But they call the cops, basically. And so there's an investigation, but the man runs off. And then Redfern enters the scene. And he basically, the warlock comes back to the house where he had crashed through. And he gives this speech and this spell about how this girl, played by Laurie Singer, is going to end up with an aging spell, and she ages a decade twice each day. So there's a pretty imperative thing. And the thing about, I guess, with this particular type of witchcraft is that the witch or the warlock has to possess something of somebody in order to be able to cast spells on them, which is something that occurs throughout the franchise, by the way, guys. This is a full-on series. It's a franchise. There's 3 movies.
And a video game.
Which we're going to get to. This is why we're covering it in the first place. There's a video game based on the movies, and we will eventually get to it on Denny and Son Gaming. Go check that out.
Yeah, currently we're doing a playthrough of The Last of Us, which we need to film more episodes of. But...
Yeah. So... the warlock is busy doing his thing. And the Redfern is then, he is on a dogged pursuit after him. And they find the warlock finds the first pages in the table of where the man that he killed was, the gay man. That's the first pages. Then it cuts to a scene a little bit later where he's with this child. And I know, guys. I know. Yeah. But it cuts to the scene where he's with this child, and they're playing electronic football. And the warlock, it's a Sunday, and there's church bells ringing. And the little boy explains that his dad didn't want him to go to church because of Jesus and the apostles and doesn't believe in that stuff. And the warlock tells him, well, I can't go in either because I'm a warlock and I'm a witch. And he goes, where's your broomstick? Everybody knows that witches need broomsticks to fly. And he goes, oh, no. I don't need no broomstick to fly. And the boy asks, well, what do you need? And the warlock just kind of smiles, real sinister-like.
And laughs as he's pushing the boy. And then all of a sudden it cuts to a scene later in which they ask what happened, and apparently the boy was eaten by some coyotes, but no.
Redfern explains that what actually happened was that the warlock sacrificed the little boy and then drank him. That's as far as I'll go with it.
Mm-hmm.
and that gives him the ability to fly. And so the Warlock is then, he invades basically a Mennonite society, because the second part of the book is in a barn house, and the father, the patriarch, understands what's going on, so he paints up a hex mark on the barn door, and that allows Redfern and the girl to pursue and to basically find him, and they capture the Warlock. There's only one problem, though. The patriarch of the family, he looks into the Warlock's eyes. And that's a big no-no, because the dude just starts bleeding from the eyes. He apparently has some kind of blindness spell put on him. And the only way that Redfern can counteract this is with brass keys. Apparently, witches don't like brass either. Also, they don't like salt, which we find out.
Mm-hmm.
So they discover the ability of what's happened and where all these pages were. And the last pages of the book are found in Boston Cemetery. They're supposed to be on consecrated ground, because witches can't step foot on consecrated ground. Only problem is that they were redoing the graves and moving them to build condos and stuff. So turns out that the pages were actually in Redfern's hands when he died. And Redfern has to come to the realization of, well, he died. I don't know how that's completely possible, because they do the whole time travel thing. And he's fully alive and everything in 1691. His date of death is 1702. So I'm not sure how that actually worked out.
Probably so basically what happened would be like a split timeline. Basically, it's weird, guys. So if you know your time travel stuff, you don't really want to. If they go into the future, that's okay. But if you go in the past, you can really mess some stuff up. But basically, when you went into the future, the timeline got split in his own world, and somehow he died in 1702. But really, when he comes back, I think he probably lives on much longer than what it says in Boston.
It could be.
Hi, everybody.
There's Mom.
Yeah, for making a cameo appearance. So, they find the third part of the book. And, of course, as we said, that it's in Redfern's hands. And they have this prolonged battle, the Warlock and the Redfern. And he basically tells the Warlock, hey, you want these pages? Come and get them. No tricks, no magic, just you and me, fisticuffs. Of course, the Warlock cheats, though, because why wouldn't he? And he gets the pages. And he's about to undo creation by saying the God's real name backwards. When all of a sudden, after the girl had been basically thrown into Boston Harbor, I'm guessing that's where it's at. It would only make sense that it would have had to have been that, because she's diabetic, which had played into this whole story too. So she takes the syringes and fills them up with salt water. And she jumps on the Warlock's back and jabs him in the neck with it.
And injects salt water into him.
Yeah, because witches loathe salt. They can't stand salt. I guess because salt is basically like a purification chemical, guys. That's very pure.
It also ties into most like supernatural lore. So if you go by like most supernatural lore, most like demons and ghosts can't actually stand salt. It actually keeps them away at bay. So if you if you guys have ever seen any movie or maybe the TV show Supernatural, which we probably could cover at some point, they will actually draw a circle of salt and stay in there, so that way no like evil spirits or ghosts can get in there. And maybe that's also another reason why, is that maybe they're going off of that as well, that witches are basically can't stand salt. So
he basically
he freaking explodes as well.
He melts and then explodes. And Redfern is able to go back to his own time, apparently having avenged his wife's death and found the pages. The girl has the pages at the very end. She buries them at the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah, meaning that a witch or a warlock will never be able to get to the pages now. And that's how it ends. Now, it's a very fun fantasy epic horror film. And if you're looking for like a straight up slasher, you're not going to find it with this, guys. Now, I myself am a true slasher fan of, I'm a true fan of the slasher subgenre. I love the whole idea of those films. The nameless, soulless killer with zero personality. Give me all of that. But the Warlock exudes a self-confidence that is truly evident throughout the whole film. And Julian Sands was definitely the right actor to play this part. He had said that it had actually sat around his office for like months before he finally actually read it because he didn't think it was going to be for him because he's not really a horror actor. And so he read it, though, and saw it more of the black comedy that it actually is rather than that. So that's why he agreed to do it. On a side note, Lori Singer, who played the girl, she was very difficult to work with from the research that I gathered, that she didn't want to wear the prosthetics that aged her and it was just a bit of a problem with her. Not sure why that is, but maybe she thought she was actually too big to be starring in this, because if you guys know Lori Singer, you know that she was also a few years earlier in a major motion picture, Footloose. So it sort of seems like she went from Footloose to Warlock, which maybe in her mind was a step down. I'm not sure.
Take a look at Kevin Bacon and how much he hated Tremors, because he went from Footloose to Tremors.
Yeah, but again, Tremors is very fun. Go check that review out if you've never seen it yet, guys.
Oh, yeah, you should. And
check out our Tremors unboxing. It's cool.
Yeah.
Got to self-promote. You know how it is. So, yeah, guys, it was a very fun movie. And fun fact, it was the very first movie distributed and produced by Trimark Pictures, which later was bought and merged with Lionsgate. So that's pretty cool, too.
I think it was Trimark and somebody else who merged to form Lionsgate.
It could be.
I can't remember what the other studio was that they merged with, but it was two studios, Trimark and somebody else, that they merged with to form Lionsgate now.
I give this one a solid 4 out of 5. What say you?
Also 4 out of 5.
I feel like the special effects were good for what they were, but they could have been a little bit better. But I do understand why they weren't as good as they could have been because of budgetary reasons. And Steve Miner does an excellent job directing and keeping the whole thing on task. And you never lose attention of the movie throughout. It keeps you satisfied and gratified to its conclusion. So that's why I say that. But of course, if you have seen Warlock and you think that it is the worst film about witches of all time, then clearly you have never seen
the Blair Witch Project.
I was going to go a different route.
Oh.
You have never seen Witchcraft, the entire series, guys. Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll cover it someday. Maybe not, because it's not really our thing. Because it's nothing but basically just graphic depictions of nudity and whatnot, and yeah. But that's.
I was gonna say the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, they're bad. The Witchcraft series is really bad. I mean, really, really, really bad. But I also understand where he's coming from too, because the Blair Witch Project does suck. Fight me on that, guys. It does.
Check out our Blair Witch video, guys.
Yeah, check that one out as well. But of course, as always, just remember, we're just two idiots with a digital camera. Our opinions do not matter, except they actually do, because we have a YouTube show
Except they actually don't.
So, guys, stay tuned as we're going to have more stuff. You know, last week we showed you guys the Friday the 13th unboxing. We're going to be doing more of those films in the very near future with some clips added in, especially for the first one. We've got a great idea that I think is going to pan out very well for Friday the 13th, 1980. I think it's going to work. It's going to be funny. You guys are going to love it.
Very last week of August, we're going on vacation, and we'll be showing our trip to St. Louis.
Yeah.
As we're going to be seeing a wrestling event there in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm. And maybe we'll be able to get some footage of the Arch and other things, other St. Louis landmarks and attractions for you guys while we're there. But there'll be no real review video that week. It's going to be kind of the vlog style that he's talking about.
Yeah.
So,
kind of similar to what our Rogers video was until I freaking got rid of all that.
Yeah, so stay tuned for all that. And also stay tuned on the gaming channel for The Last of Us. And we've got some other video games and stuff lined up in the very near future that we're going to get to. It's going to be a busy time for the channel. Bear with us as we continue to make the improvements necessary to give you guys the most quality experience possible when viewing our show.
Oh, that also reminds me. I completely forgot. So we tested out our HDMI adapter that we got recently, and it worked phenomenal. Our Sega Genesis looks crystal clear on our software that we have for capturing gameplay footage.
Yeah, so that's going to work out very well because, you know, as we mentioned, we did get Warlock the video game, and wish us luck on that one. It is a difficult game, but it is a fun game.
And also stay tuned because after The Last of Us ends, I will probably be doing the Corey next.
Yeah, and we've also got Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage coming in the near future
which
as well.
Which we'll probably do like a live stream long play of, guys. And oh boy, will that one be a difficult one.
Yeah, but I guess there's nothing else left to say on this episode except
peace and love from Denny and Son. Bye.